I really don't make an apology for my needs anymore. And I really think that women are getting much better. And I love helping women put themselves and their business ahead of, put the oxygen mask on, right? Because that makes me a better mom. I'm sure of it.
Hello, you guys. Welcome to Boss Bitch Radio. It is a downpour here in Las Vegas. And, it's very welcomed because we had a very spicy summer, but I'm sitting in my backyard. The rain just cleared, the birds are singing, and I'm here to talk to you about this really fun episode today. This was an episode with Gilly from Gilly's Organics. She also has a podcast, which I definitely want you to check out. Everyday Rock Stars. Well, she's a rock star. Her story is freaking wild in the best way. I mean, just so much goodness. If you're someone who has an entrepreneurial mind, or you have a small business, or maybe you have this passion inside of you that you've just always wanted to bring to fruition, this is going to be that episode that's just going to really inspire you or remotivate you. But she's great. She went from freelancing for huge brands like Estee Lauder, Clinique, Joe Malone, Aveda, to creating her own freaking product, right? So instead of going back to corporate, she followed her intuition, right? The voice inside that was like, I love making things and mixing things and creating products and helping people feel good in their skin. And she took it all the way to Whole Foods, you guys. Like, this is a great story. A total DIY, right? Like, it went from like giving a friend a scrub that she made, and yeah, Whole Foods for 8 years. And it's just incredible. She's got a 9 product line now. And she talks about some vulnerable things in her life that had changed everything, that turned her to the Everyday Rockstar podcast. So we met, interestingly enough, because I don't think we talk about it in the episode, in the buffet line at Kathy Heller's retreat. And she just had this like magnetic energy about her. And she's gorgeous and she's just bubbly. And I was like, I need to know this. I need to know this woman. She's just like the woman that walks in the room and just like super magnetizing. And I was like, we need to be friends. And so yeah, we became friends on this episode, but it's a great episode full of the total usual, honesty, vulnerability, heart. And I feel like it might be something that would really land for you and inspire you to, like I said, maybe follow that little voice inside. It's whispering for a reason. So, anyhow, I'm going to quit babbling, let you into the show, and enjoy.
So tell me how Gilly's
Sure.
Organics came to be,
Sure.
where Everyday Rock Stars fits into the picture, just the high level view of where you
Sure.
were to where you're at now.
Okay, so I have been at this for a really long time, Diane. I was writing for Estee Lauder as a freelancer. That wasn't my first job, but we're not going to go all the way back. Before that was cable
Okay.
television. But I went out on my own and I became a writer, and I landed Estee Lauder, which was so lucky. I was so young, living in Manhattan, writing for not just Lauder, but all the Lauder brands. So Tommy Hilfiger, Joe Malone, Clinique, Donna Karan, Aveda, like all these brands. And I was not in-house. So I didn't have like all of the corporate BS. I was a freelancer before freelancing was a thing. And I made more money than I did as a manager in cable television as a freelance writer, working like 2 hours a day in like ripped jeans and a bun in my Manhattan apartment.
Wow.
And I used to get to write so much fun stuff like fragrances, name them. I did a TV campaign for Tommy Hilfiger, and it was 3 words. And I made more money in that one TV campaign. And I wrote 3 words, and one of the words was theirs: touch, tickle, Tommy. And I got to cast it. And I had so much fun with that job. It was 6 years of writing from my apartment. And in that time, I got married and had 2 of my 3 kids, moved over to New Jersey, not that far, but when this vice president of fragrance at Estee Lauder got fired, I was at a crossroads. So that's that. But if you cut back all the way to when I was a little kid, I used to love to mix things up, but I never thought I would do that as a business. I just liked mixing. Like I was a little concoctor. I made face masks in college for my girlfriends. I mixed things up in my parents' pharmacy. My dad owned a pharmacy. My parents worked together. And I would look for broken eyeshadows on the shelf of the pharmacy and mix it with Vaseline and make lip gloss. It was definitely something that I liked to do, but I never, ever went to school to become an esthetician or a chemist or anything like that. I was totally in branding and marketing. And then, so when the vice president got fired from Lauder, and he was the person feeding me all the work. I wasn't in the corporate world there. I was like their freelancer. I had 2 of my 3 kids, lived in Jersey now, and I was like, I'm going to make a product. And that is how Gilly's Organics began. I had an oil blend already for dry hair and skin. Like my hair used to be so dry. It is so much softer now. I was putting this blend of oils. It was like coconut, olive, avocado, jojoba, all these great organic oils. And one of my friends who was a massage therapist at the time was like, can I buy this oil from you? And I was like, no, I'll just give it to you. You just like use it on your clients and then maybe we'll sell it. And then another friend was like, make a sugar scrub. So I made a sugar scrub and that's how it began. It's called Hey Sugar, Looking Good. I started selling it at fairs and preschools, and slowly but surely it was a bunch of years. And then in 2014, I was doing a giveaway, Mother's Day giveaway at a local Whole Foods. And a girlfriend of mine who was facilitating the event was like, why don't you go up to that guy? Why aren't your products in Whole Foods? At this point, I had made 9 products. I forgot to say. So I was like, I had all these excuses why they wouldn't be good for Whole Foods yet. The packaging wasn't ready, this. And she was like, just go up to the guy and ask. So I go up to him and he happens to be the buyer and he happens to love all the ingredients. And he says, fill out all these papers. It might be 6 months to a year, but like maybe you'll get an order. And 6 months later, I got my first order of Whole Foods. So I had 8 wonderful years on the shelves of Whole Foods. I'm not right now, but that is the origin of Gilly's Organics and just sort of following what felt right at the time and the things that happened and just saying yes to the idea. So
that's incredible.
Thank you.
Wow. What an evolution. At what point did you just start? I mean, I have so many questions, but what point did you start expanding what you were offering? Because it started with an oil, then a scrub.
Yeah. So it was only about I lost my mom in this process. She knew I had started this business and I had only had the sugar scrub. And then when she died, I was really new at this and I was ready to go back to a corporate job. And I was like, and then I was pregnant with my 3rd when she passed. So I was like, okay, we're going to need some money here. Like I'm just making a few bucks here and there on this sugar scrub. And I looked into some jobs. I got some job offers. And then I was like, I got this like energy that said, no, like, let's do this, And I felt like my mom was sort of just like, try it, do it. Like, don't give up on your dream. So I put in a little money and a lot of energy into a whole line of products. So there are nine products and I'm really proud of them. I love them all. They're really great. Shampoo, conditioner, body butter, body wash, face wash, 2 different toners, face cream, I said scrub. And then when I got into Whole Foods at that moment is when I realized, oh, okay, this is a business. Like you're not going to do well if you don't treat it like a business every single day. And so I had 8 beautiful years, including COVID, with Whole Foods. And in that time, I got asked to speak a lot and tell my entrepreneur story. And I met a mentor who is the founder of this amazing organization called the Female Quotient. And it was in those times where she asked me to speak, where I realized, oh my God, I love speaking. I love talking. But not just speaking about myself, like hearing other people's stories. So I love the network, I guess is the word, the communication, the connection. And so I craved all of these events that I was getting invited to. And I would it didn't matter if I was speaking at them or if I was just a guest, I just soaked it all in. And then before I knew it, these speaking engagements were coming my way. And then right before COVID hit, a local magazine wanted to do a feature on me. And I was like, oh, sure. And it was all about women's empowerment and wellness. And I said, oh, that's so great. And then he says, wait a minute, don't go. I have an idea. You seem like somebody who would be really great to help us grow our magazine. And I said, oh, thanks. How do you see it? He's like, well, do you have any ideas? And I said, yeah, I think we should feature one person a month in this community doing awesome stuff. And we'll call it Rock Stars of Bergen County. And that is how my podcast began, because I did it for his magazine for 3 years, once a month, featuring a child actor on Broadway, a news journalist, a musician who is autistic, all different types of people. And I got to meet the coolest people. And then after 3 years, people started asking me, hey, I live in Los Angeles or I live in Manhattan. Can I be on your show? So I went to him and I was like, hey, listen, I would like to have my own podcast and I'm happy to still do some for you. And he said, this was your idea. I knew this was going to happen one day. And so now I have my podcast called Everyday Rock Stars, which, by the way, Diane, you are such a rock star. So you are definitely a rock star. So that's how it began. And this is all while growing Gilly's Organics, but recognizing that this was a passion that I just couldn't ignore. And it was just finding me. So, and meeting people and hearing what makes their business thrive. So I'm actually considering doing a best of soon, where I just take the snippets of what makes everybody a rock star, right? Some people it's a saying, some people it's a workout, some people it's a mantra, some people have a sticky on their computer. And it's just awesome to hear what motivates and inspires people. So that's my favorite part.
Love that. Or do you find, I have so many questions. Do you find a common theme when you're talking with people? Because I know self-doubt is huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
You told your story about thinking oh, I don't have, and a lot of us get stuck in that spot of self-doubt because, and I'm guilty too,
Sure.
right? Where, oh, I don't have the labels. Or for me, I want to approach certain people about speaking on stages in my niche, right? Oh, why would they pick me and all these things? How have you overcome those moments? Or what do you see?
Such a good question.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, did you ever notice that when you're coaching someone, you're at the next level? When I also coach female entrepreneurs, that when it makes sense, and when I'm giving them homework, I'm doing the homework, right? So you're a trainer and you know this. Everybody has low moments. Everyone has days where they feel so bloated or they overindulge over the weekend or they're sore or whatever. It's the same thing, I feel with all these entrepreneurs. They have this grit and this understanding that there's going to be pitfalls. There's going to be shitty times where the packager has a broken machine or they're not going to get this client that they thought, or they wasted this energy or this money or whatever. And it's a grit and a decision that, okay, and an understanding that this is still my passion and this is still my path and it's okay. At least for the most part, that's what I'm seeing, is that their passion is unwavering, even when they feel imposter syndrome or low energy or a financial blow or something. They still believe that the end game is the same. That the finish line it's never a finish line, that they're always going to have these roller coastery moments.
When you're on the cusp of taking a big next step, putting yourself out there, is there something you tell yourself, or how do you hype yourself up to get to that next level, really?
These are good questions. Okay. Well, for me, I also feel the mind-body thing is super important. So when I am disciplined in my workouts, and particularly yoga, hot yoga, because I feel it sets me up for success if I do that in that morning. I feel I am meditating and I am feeding my body this like goodness. I'm releasing all the traumas and the insecurities and all the BS. So for me, movement is huge. And a lot of people say that too on the show. Movement is huge, but I definitely have self-talk and I have hype songs and I have deep meditation, a little prayer, a little bit of like mantra, depending on where I'm going and what it is. I might walk to something or take like a couple mile walk and just envision how it's going to go. There's a definite mind body thing going on for me, but it's not specific each time. It's like, sometimes it's a mantra, like, you know, you deserve this, or this will work out, or whatever's supposed to happen will happen for you. Or like, it's a mantra and it's definite movement, because if I don't move that day, even if it's just like a couple mile walk, then it's my mental health and it boosts my confidence. So yeah.
Oh, yes. It's so huge for me too. And I find that when I am stuck or I'm burnt out, just what have you, I get in one of those modes. This happened to me a little over a year ago. I was actually putting my own movement like at the bottom of the list of a priority. It was like something I was dreading. I hated it. It felt like I needed to be working more because like I needed to be addressing the things that were maybe, you know, off kilter in some way, shape, or form in my business. And actually the remedy was I needed to just get back into the gym.
Isn't that crazy?
And like, I should know better. Like, I'm a professional. Like, this is what I do. Right. And it wasn't, I needed to make it mean more than just my appearance, right?
Yeah.
Because it's really why
it's mental
I got
health.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really why I got into health and fitness. Oh, thank you.
I saw you at the retreat. I was like, who is that? And like fitness instructor. She's definitely, who is this fitness
sweet.
model? Yeah.
You're so sweet. But it is true because now, right, like my movement practice, there's so much about it, right? Like there's the foundation of my strength training, but I'm obsessed with yoga. I love Pilates. I love to dance. I'm like that with walking. I have to get out and walk around and see trees and not be in my office all day.
So true. It's grounding. It's grounding. And it could change the whole day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And sometimes I fall prey to, oh, well, that's going to take me 2 hours of my day. If I go to hot yoga, I got to get there, park, take a shower, hair has to dry before the podcast or whatever. But the thing is that I'd rather show up with a little less makeup and not blown out hair and be more me and more alive and more centered. And I do think that I used to think that it was like, if I work more and cut out the workout or cut out even the walk, that I'll make more money or do more of this or get more done in the day. But really, I do think that I get more done when I prioritize that mind body awesomeness. Yeah.
It's so huge. Where do you find that you have your best ideas?
Okay. So if I listen to like a mindful, like a guided meditation, I don't do them enough, but do you ever listen to a guided meditation? Like, have you ever listened to one of those penny hypnosises through Kathy? Okay.
I've always skipped them.
I did one, things like that. I have these moments. I also have them sometimes in a massage. Like I get these downloads. It's because my nervous system is taken down, or like Shavasana after a hard workout class. All of a sudden, your head is clear, and that's when the things come in. When you're clear, or after a really long walk. That's what I think. I think it has to be that all the to-dos and the chatter is gone, and that's when all the good downloads come. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So good. I find that similar to you. It's usually when I'm not trying to have them. Right. On a walk, I'll be driving, I'll be in the shower after a good
It's like when you're looking for something that you have to buy for something, like you need black pants for something and you can't find the black pants, but when you just pop into a store and you don't need anything and you find them on sale for 50% off or whatever, it's like that. When you're not looking for something, it's kind of that law of trusting in the universe and just not pushing and pushing. When you're not pushing is usually when everything sort of opens up for you, for me at least.
Right. I was having this conversation with my daughter. She works for me, and she's also like branching off and starting her own business and doing her own thing too. And she's a go-getter. She's an amazing kid, but we were going back and forth on this app that we communicate on, and it's called Marco Polo. I call it Snapchat for old people. It's like you send a video and then they watch it and then they send you a video. It's super fun, but that's how I communicate with my kids. But she was saying that she was thinking about sort of what she's wanting to do and how she's chasing these goals. And just the word chasing just feels so exhausting to me. And I know you and I are in the same coaching group. And so every time I hear Kathy say she's allergic to hard work, I'm like, hallelujah. And so I'm trying to really, impress that upon my daughter as well. It's really the act of just like living your life. And it's less about the chasing. It's about being and just having the capacity.
It's passion and faith. And like, it's, when I say grit before with all those people, grit meaning like they don't give up. It's like they're not giving up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're in hustle culture all day long. Like I do feel that when I'm in hustle, like, and I'm not enjoying the moment and I'm like just checking stuff off, check, I'm not living and nothing really exciting or big is happening in my business. I'm just like working on the business or whatever that saying is.
Yes.
But the big things happen when you're not like expecting them. Just like everything else in life, I feel like the big things in my life happened serendipitously, like meeting my husband when I wasn't planning on it. All the good things happen when I feel like you're not looking
chasing
hard
them.
Chasing. Exactly. So we have to teach our kids to go after their dreams, but maybe not run so hard.
Exactly.
Have a little faith. It's like, I think it was in Kathy's email today or something. It's almost like that message if one door closes. Like if you think it's terrible that you didn't get that part, but that could have been the reason why this next level of your life happened. And so learning that at a young age is such a cool thing too, is that something that seems like a huge disappointment could end up being like your life's work. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a different way to look at things. One thing I talk a lot about on my podcast as of late is really avoiding burnout and how women tend to put themselves at the bottom of their list. And I'd love to know what your self-care routine kind of looks like. What does it look like for you as a busy entrepreneur who has children, who runs a podcast, right? You doing all these things. What does your self-care routine look like? Hey, I know you are knuckle deep in this podcast episode right now, but I am here to just let you know that if you aren't on my newsletter list, this is where you want to be. This is where I will be sharing more behind the scenes content of some things that I'm working on, some projects. If you're interested in any of the retreats or workshops that I'm going to be hosting coming up in 2026 and beyond, you're going to want to be on the newsletter list. Listen, I know email's archaic. I know we hate being in there. I know it's scary, but you can do it. We can do this together because the emails you get from me are not going to be the shit spam emails that you get from everyone else. All right. I'm talking about real stuff that's useful for you in real time, that you can reference, stuff that's going to jog your brain a little bit, make you think about life, not just another influencer who's just spitting a new workout and a meal plan at you. Plus, anytime I create any fun freebies, any actionable tools, steps, or strategies, my newsletter people are the first to get it, and you won't want to miss out, especially for retreats and workshops that are coming up, because this is the shit that makes you the boss bitch that I know that you are dying to be in your life. All right, go check out that link.
I love this question, and it has been the biggest evolution, Diane, for me, the biggest, because back when I was a new mom, and I could assure you that Steve would attest to this, that I was like a martyr. I'd be like, this is what I did today. Like, when you're in corporate America and then your boss says, oh, Gilly, great job on this PowerPoint presentation. But when you're a mom or you have clients and you're working kind of for yourself, no one's giving you a pat on the back necessarily. So I would be like, I did this and I did that. And it ended up being complaining. I feel like I was complaining. First of all, once I finally didn't do that anymore, this mentor that I mentioned back in the beginning that flew me to places to talk about my story, I feel like it was there when my kids were little and they were like, who are you going? Like, why are you going to Sonoma all of a sudden and leaving us at home? And I had this, like in the beginning, this guilt for doing what I love to do. And I twisted that on its head. It took a little while, but I like flipped that shit because once I did those things, I felt so much more alive and so much more excited about my business and so much better as a mom. And so self-care went from being like, oh, I deserve this because I did this and this, to self-care first. So I don't make any excuses or apologies if I am tired and I want to go to bed. I don't make any excuses or apologies or need if I want to go get a massage. I don't say, oh, my back really hurts. Like I work out. I need a massage. I like the way it makes me feel. Self-care. And I'm not saying like well, maybe I am saying sometimes go spend money you don't have, because it finds you. You're what you need, you deserve. And you wouldn't skimp on, well, some people do, but I wouldn't skimp on my gym memberships or my yoga memberships. There are certain things that are just my priority, and self-care is one of them. So I love massage, walks with friends or solo, and sometimes family members. Alone time. I love to be alone because I love people too, but it's so nice to be alone. Tonight I'm going to a girlfriend's birthday dinner right after this. So girlfriends, and definitely time with my partner. Steve's amazing. So I do need time to nurture that. And I have grown kids, so I enjoy them a lot. And that is self-care, to just like have time with each of them. But it's different every day. And I don't make excuses anymore. Like if I need something, if I will coordinate with Steve or, does this work if I do this? But I really don't make an apology for my needs anymore. And I really think that women are getting much better. And I love helping women put themselves and their business ahead of, put the oxygen mask on, right? Because that makes me a better mom. I'm sure of it.
It most certainly does. And I think what we're showing our children, at least how I view it, is I was just having this conversation right before this call. Wasn't raised in a family where my mom took care of herself, or she was eating healthy or making, they did their best, I think, with what they were given. But I really saw the results of how my family took care of themselves. And so for me, I just didn't want to repeat that same generational pattern. And it was then, as soon as I had children, was just my mission that they were going to be able to do things that I couldn't do or my parents couldn't afford for us to do. And part of that was having them be in activities and doing things that would keep them busy, right? They weren't going to just be sitting in their room like I did growing up, just being a hermit and watching, Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. That's so funny, because the woman that was on my last podcast, we talked about Saved by the Bell. How do you like that?
Oh, how weird.
She wrote a book called Millennial Menopause, and there's all these little nods to Saved by the Bell and Britney Spears. And anyway, okay.
All of that. But just really seeing how much of a difference it made in their lives. And now that they're all adults, how much they prioritize their own self-care. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to my parents, because they're just like, okay, so we can't go do this thing until you guys all go to the gym. And we're like, and they get so frustrated. Like, it's a whole thing. But my dad gets up and drinks a Pepsi and a sleeve of Oreos for breakfast. Right. So it makes sense to why he can't relate. Right. But I think
so
it's
contagious that way. It was only contagious trickling down. I hear you. Yeah. I could relate on that level. I saw my parents always like doing the diet culture when I was a kid. And I was like, no, I never want to diet. Like, I'm just going to love to work out and exercise and eat healthy and be done when I'm full. Enjoy food, but not in any way that I have to like say, oh, I'm done now because I've had this many calories. Just intuitive. So I was lucky that that diet culture never got to me. And so, which I feel really lucky about. And I'm grateful that my kids do love eating healthy and they love working out. And I think, it's an amazing thing. I think there's balance. You need to be able to balance it. And I need to give myself grace. And I do. Sometimes I take a couple of weeks off. I've taken a month off of hot yoga, but I love it. And it's, I think, a healthy addiction on most levels, So, yeah.
Yeah. So good. So what are you convicted about these days? That's one of my favorite questions to ask guests so we can really get whatever is juicy is just top of mind for you.
The first thing that comes to mind is that, what am I convicted about? Okay, that people should focus on themselves. And if they don't know something in the world, they shouldn't inject themselves into a conversation. And if they don't have anything nice to say, they should refrain from saying it. It's age old, but I find people use the internet, a lot of people like we do, use it for good. But I see sort of a sad side of it too. And I think if I could change one thing, it would be that people use it for good, like use your powers for good only. And yeah, spread good and kindness. And the good and kindness will come back around at you, and not spreading hate and vitriol and scary stuff.
It's really curating what you're listening to and what you're watching and being triggered by. I agree. I'm definitely big on that. Muting people on Instagram is like my favorite pastime.
I've been doing that.
It really is. I'm like,
Totally.
You're annoying me. All right, mute.
Yeah.
I don't need to see, this political whatever.
I agree.
And just
I know.
kind of blocking it out for sure.
Same.
I'm assuming that your podcast also is part of your conviction too. So share with us.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Tell me more.
Okay. So I love clean beauty and I love taking care of yourself. I think it's really important to use non-toxic products and eat clean for the most part. But if you're going out, and I'm not saying never have a margarita and fries, I'm just saying like eat clean for the most part, work out as much as, healthy in a healthy way, and use clean products, right? It's better for you. It's better for the environment. Ultimately keeps you looking and feeling better. And my podcast, I am convicted in sharing people's stories that are inspiring and fun, and I get juiced up by it just like you do. I love hearing what keeps people going. What is it that keeps people motivated, and how they thought their business up, and what their goals are. It's really fun. So
how long have you had the podcast?
So Rockstars of Bergen County started in December 2019, and that went for 3 years. And then the past 3 almost, it's been mine, Everyday Rockstars. And I was committed to doing it just like once a month. And now I'm starting to do way more. But it's like, and it's also starting to monetize a little. So for the longest time, it was just this passion. And I was spending my own money to edit it and all that. And now I get some sponsors. So that's kind of fun. So I guess it's
awesome.
the perfect example of following whatever your heart is saying to do, and the money will follow, kind of a thing. Hopefully it's not paying the mortgage though, Diane, but it's covering a little.
Yeah, but it is definitely one of those avenues that has so much possibility, right?
Yeah.
Like I started my podcast 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago. And I feel like my daughter tells me, Mom, everything you make into like a fun project ends up becoming a business. I'm like,
Right.
Okay, maybe you have a point, but the podcast was just sort of a side gig to what I was doing with my brick and mortar. And I was doing online coaching, but I just felt like I needed to discuss things in the fitness industry that weren't being discussed, really shed a light on fitness in a different perspective. And it took off, which was great. And then it ended up being another leg of my business. And it's now primarily what I do, but it has opened up so many doors for meeting amazing people and connecting with people and opportunities. So it's, you'll be on my show too. You'll have some new followers because they're going to absolutely fall in love with you. East Coast, I am like a magnet for East Coast people. Okay.
So
and Canadians, oddly enough, but
it's so interesting. I love it.
They love the podcast because I'm usually very uncensored and unfiltered. So
I think it's because you're really good at it, and you're really natural at it, and you're easy to talk to, and you ask really good questions. So
I appreciate that.
I'm so happy that you chose me as a guest.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, of course. I met you in the line at the buffet, and I was like,
Totally.
I need to know you. You have magnetizing energy. I've seen you like around the room, I just needed to introduce myself. So I'm glad that I did.
I'm so glad you did.
A mouse, and I just kind of observe, and but I definitely took myself outside my comfort zone for that retreat.
I'm so glad you did.
Now, when it comes to where you're taking Gilly's Organics next. Can you walk us down what your vision is for that? I know you're very passionate about organic products. I would love, obviously, you know, as we wrap it up too, for you to let us know where we can point the audience, but tell us what you see with your brand there.
I'm saying it here, Diane. Okay. So everybody who's listening could hold me accountable. I am going to go and use live shopping. Finally, they've been talking about it forever. Gary Vee's been saying live shopping on Whatnot, on TikTok Shop. And I've been like tiptoeing around on TikTok, doing nothing basically. And I'm going to show up. I'm showing up and that's that. I'm going to take it to live shopping because I think there's like a whole audience out there, people online right now, as we speak, millions of people on this phone, like ready to buy your products. And I think it's been untapped for Gilly's Organics. I like to teach that with Whole Foods, I put all my organic eggs in one basket. It's funny, but it's true. It's not that I didn't write Target and Ulta, but when I was in Whole Foods, and you can go back and look, you can see I did back bends and headstands and cartwheels in front of the Whole Foods, and I literally gave them all of my energy. I spoke at their summits. I was like, Whole Foods, and they were giving me, you know, orders. And so I was raising little kids, and what I should have done, well, I don't know if I should say that. Part of me thinks that I should have said, okay, proof of concept, let's get an investor and blow this out with salespeople instead of it just being me and a few people, but like really go after other places. I sort of just kept giving Whole Foods all of my attention and being grateful for them. And I was, and I am, I still very much am. But there's so much more out there. There is so much more out there. I'm in a wellness center in the hospital around the corner in Englewood, New Jersey. I could be in 50 of those, and I just have to reach out to them because it does well there. It is perfect. It's for the perfect integrative medicine audience. And so I'm going to do that as well. So live shopping, more wellness centers, maybe another supermarket, big one. I'm looking at you, Sprouts, you know, so so we'll see. Okay.
Okay. I love that. Now, are you on TikTok already? Like, have you?
I am.
Okay.
And I will say this, for the longest time, my kids are now big. So, but when TikTok was like on its rise, they were like, you can't be on TikTok. That's our app.
My kids said the same thing.
And I was like, wait, you said that about Instagram. And now that's where I get all the followers.
Yeah.
And so I finally took a business advisor's advice, and he was like, what are you doing? Like, get on TikTok. So I finally get on TikTok, and it's taken me a little longer to grow it, but it's on there now, and I'm committed to now showing up there. So, or having influencers and ambassadors show up there as well. So,
I love that.
Live shopping, TikTok, Amazon, which I am on Amazon, and more wellness centers.
Hey, that's amazing. Are you doing affiliates too, or ambassadors?
Yes,
I'm not quite
yes,
sure. Okay.
I am. In fact, one woman so far from our retreat asked to be one, and I just gave her a link.
I would be interested.
Before this episode drops, I'll give you a link. So,
yeah, let's do that. I would 100% be interested because
totally.
I went through this, like, side note, but relative story about last year. I found this TikTok that came up, and the gal was talking about how she was going through this like consumption reduction journey where she was realized that she would just blow tons of money on products. And that's me, guilty as charged. Okay. Like, my son knew if we were going to Starbucks and Ulta, it was going to be an hour and I was coming out $300 cheap broker.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Like once a month. Yeah. And I saw this TikTok and I thought, oh my God, I need a reality check. So I immediately went and I started counting all my stuff. I had like 6 eye creams, 4 different moisturizers, 12 different conditioners. Like, it was out of control. Plus I had like back stock, right? Because I'd go in and I'd be like, ooh, I want to try this. Ooh, I want to try that. And I decided that I was going to cease and desist any new purchases until I was like at this much level with any product that I had. Right. So that was in November of last year. I still have not finished my eye creams on my last eye cream. I finally had to buy a moisturizer the other day, like a sunscreen, but all that to say, I've been looking to just have one line that I feel really works with what I believe in, really, really organic
Awesome.
ingredients, stuff that's not full of chemicals and things like that. So I am
You
100%.
found her. You found
Yes.
it.
And that was why I was like, I need to interview her because I'm going to be out of face stuff soon.
I love it.
And I need a new product.
I did this challenge like a bunch of years ago. I was on this amazing woman's podcast. She has great energy like you. She is a chef, and Anna Vocino. And she makes spices and sauce, marinara. And we did this challenge with women to show us their countertop and then throw away anything that had parabens or sulfates or crap, which like this woman ended up throwing everything out. And she won because she posted and she won the challenge. And I sent her one of everything. And she now orders like one of everything every single month on subscription since that podcast. So you never know who you're going to meet and who's going to fall in love with your products, and recognize that it's time to like clean up the act, like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely. So tell us what like your 3 top products are. Like what are your top 3 faves or popular ones?
So I would say that the 3 best sellers right now, like when I was in Whole Foods, it was hard because it was kind of equal. Each store did better with different things. But on Amazon, I would say that the 3 top sellers are Body Butter, which is this rich cocoa butter, chocolatey, mint, yummy, like creamy. It's not for your face, it's for your elbows and your ankles and your body. And it's perfect for right now. And then toner. I have these I have a cucumber and rose toner. And they smell so good. They're great after the gym, after yoga, in between cleansing and moisturizing. I mean, I love my face wash and my face cream. They're also up there. But if I had to pick the third, I'd say the sugar scrub. It's like scrub, body butter, and toner are the top sellers, I think, at this point. And I just think that they're accessible. They're so clean. They smell so good. And yeah, I love them. So
okay, well,
so that's at gillysorganics.com. You can find them at Gilly's Organics, GILLYS organics.com. And also Gilly's Organics on Instagram and TikTok. And and then what else? Oh, Everyday Rockstars at Everyday Rockstars on Instagram and Apple and Spotify. So follow and
we'll link everything up in the show notes for sure and point everybody in the right direction. Anything that I didn't discuss or cover today that you want to talk about or mention?
No, all I want to do is now interview you right back. I want to ask you all the questions that you asked.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I love what you're doing. It's not a question. I love what you're doing. And I think there's nothing more important than motivating women in particular to take care of themselves and their body, and also to share their story so they can feel seen and feel motivated and supported. And so I just am walking away from this conversation feeling all of that. And so congratulations on building what you've built, because
thank you.
It's a success.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story. It's so inspiring. I think it's going to women are going to resonate with it, just so down to earth. And the fact that you had this dream and this vision and you brought it to life, and the way that it happened and it unfolded was divine timing. And I think it just serves as such a great motivational for women who are feeling like they're called to do more, but they don't know where to start. It's really just trust, take the next step, and it all
and reach out if you want. Yeah, because I do. I coach female entrepreneurs if there's time, when there's time, and if it's the fit. And I feel like this is our life, right? So we got to embrace it and squeeze all the juice out of it. And I really appreciate that so much. I can't wait to meet your community. And I'm so grateful you had me.
Thank you so much.
And
Gilly.
that you reached out.
Yes,
at the
me
buffet
too.
line.
Me too.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
I loved this episode with Gilly. I hope you guys really enjoyed it too. She is so sweet. She's hilarious. She's such a great personality. I love my East Coast people. I love all my people, but my East Coast people are they're the real, like they tell it like it is. And, I'm dating one, so I know exactly how it is. And I couldn't imagine it any other way, right? Like I always know what is on his mind. And it has taught me to also be very vocal, but I feel like I don't know, my East Coast peeps have that down. So, anyhow, I loved this episode. It was really just a fun way to connect with somebody on their passion and their mission. So, make sure to check out the show notes for all of Gilly's products and, all of the goodness that she's bringing to the world. And I want you to also, if you haven't, I've been prompting you on every episode to join the newsletter list because I have some really incredible things coming up. We're doing a workshop in January, and I don't have the details already yet, but if you get on the newsletter list, then you will be the first to know. But we're going to do a big 90-minute, probably 75 to 90-minute workshop at the beginning of the year on setting goals for main character energy. Okay. So I don't have the title yet. I'm playing around with it and massaging it around a little bit and sharing it with my members right now in the Healthy and Hot method. But you won't want to miss that. This is not going to be your typical vision board goal setting experience. This is going to be a time where you look back at your last year. I'm going to show you how to do that in the same way that I do it every year. And talking about the woman that you want to become, the identity that you want to step into. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What do you want to stop doing? And in order to feel and embody that woman that you're trying to become, what steps do we need to take? And I'm going to walk you through it in a very tactile, beautiful way in January. And I don't want you to miss it because 2026, we're bringing main character energy, bitches. Okay. I'm not fucking around anymore. We're doing this shit together. So get on that newsletter list, check out the link in the description, or just go over to bossbitchradio.com. At the very top, you'll see where you can sign up for the newsletter. All right. I love you. Mean it. Bye.